Peace and blessings, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Being You. Ade presents Being You. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good day. And good you. Thank you for being here. The House of Love, where transformation is guaranteed. And I have a guest, as you can see. And we got something juicy to talk about. So I want to just jump right in. Feel free to like, share this conversation with people you love and people you can't stand. Because when you share with people you can't stand, they get to understand how you think. And they might just become friends. So I'm going to jump in and just read the bio because we got a lot to cover, but we'll probably have to do this in two parts. So my guest, my dear friend, is Diane Roney. Let me get my glasses. Let me stop fronting. I want to invite you all to pay attention to this bio. So Diane Roney is a creative entrepreneur. She's an AI artist, prosperity, mindfulness facilitator, and founder of Diane Roney Creates. She's a radiant example of how aging can be a masterpiece in motion. As the founder of Diane Roney Creates, she blends soulful creativity with digital innovation, specializing in AI-generated art that honors the beauty, strength, and culture of African American women, particularly those embracing their power in their 50s, 60s, and beyond. With a background that spans journalism, publicity, and legal expertise, Diane has evolved her career into a soulful, purpose-driven business rooted in crafting, quilting, and designing digital products. Her creations, ranging from affirmation cards and printable journal kits to her celebrated coloring book, Soulful Stitches, helps others express, reflect, and reconnect with joy. A prosperity mindfulness facilitator, Diane infuses all her work with a spiritual depth, using creativity as her vehicle for healing and empowerment. Her art and crafting aren't just products, they're practices. I've never read a bio that said anything like that before. Something about it is like, it's not just products, they're practices. She inspires women to reclaim their energy, creativity, and identity through expressive projects that speaks to both cultural heritage and inner wholeness. Now journeying towards her 70th birthday, Diane is proving that aging isn't about fading into the background. It is about becoming even more vibrant and visible. Whew. That word, visible. Through her brand, she reclaims space for mature black women to be stylish, bold, creative, and celebrated. Diane is also a wife, a proud mother to an adult daughter, and a storyteller at heart, inviting others to see aging not as a limitation, but as a liberation. I wanted to read all your bio. I wanted to read all of it. I wanted to slow it down because your bio, to me, when I read it, it could be used as a reflection, a contemplation, to read about somebody else going through and growing through their stage in life and how they're showing up. So, anyway, we'll continue because I can go deep already. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me for this conversation. Yes, indeed.
Thank you. Namaskar. Yes.
Namaskar. So this conversation, this particular one, where really is the beginning? Because where there's a beginning, there was an ending. And then at that end, there's a beginning and new beginning. But you posted something on Facebook about 2 months ago about aging.
Yes.
And I just want to jump in. There are other questions I usually ask my guests, but right now I feel like I want to jump in with you. Can you tell us about that post that made me reach out to you and say, let's talk more about this?
Sure. I was out that day and I had gone to my dance class. And I was in the class, and one of the ladies that I know said to me, "Would you like to come to a card class?" Oh, well, they make cards. They get together as a group and they make cards on a Friday. And I said, "Okay, I will go ahead and I will join them." And they told me that it was at a senior center, and I'm like, "Okay, that might not be too bad." So I went. I went in and I got into the room where they were at, and I was sitting watching them, create cards and all that kind of stuff. And one of the ladies said, "Would you like to see the facility?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'll go see the facility.
Why
I'll walk
not?
around with you to see the facility."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm walking. I left the door and I walked out with her, and we were walking down the hallway. And something came over me. I don't know if spirit was talking to me. I don't know what was happening, but I literally just stood in the middle of the hall. And I was like, it's like my body kind of left me. Like, where are you? Like, what are you doing? And she was walking me, and all I could see was people, seasoned people. I'm not going to say older because I don't use that word. I say seasoned. Doing activities, and they were swimming, and they were classes, and some people were standing around reading, or they were playing, I think they were playing spades or cards or something like that. And she would say, "Yes, I come here during the week, they have a senior lunch," and boom, my eye just went, "Whoa, wait, wait, wait." Wait a minute. Why am I in here?
As you say that, it makes me think of, when you're watching a movie, right? And something happens that hits them, and you can hear their voice echo, but the camera is on
Yes.
them and they're frozen.
They're frozen. I literally I stood in the middle of the thing and I froze and I couldn't understand what was coming over me. And when she said senior lunch, oh yes, and she said, it's $3, you can come in, you can have lunch. And you know what I felt? I felt like I was in kindergarten. You know how when your first day of kindergarten and somebody leads you around the school because you're so
Yeah.
small and you're little and they're just like leading you around. I was like, oh God, this cannot be happening. And I said, I could not see this as my existence. Now, I am not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this is fine for some people, but my mindset is not there. I didn't see myself as somebody being in a senior center doing those senior things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I graciously exited the building and said I would, talk to her later and I would be back, and have a conversation. But I tell
Before
you,
you
when I
move
got
forward,
into
what happened in your mind that caused you to freeze? Like, wow, this can't be happening. What
I
was
couldn't
that?
I couldn't believe that I couldn't believe that yes, I'm going to be 70 next month. But I couldn't believe that I was actually in that place. I guess I never saw myself as being 70 and being in a place where I would have to sort of be led to do something or taken care of, or you had to have the senior lunch, or you had to have an activity. Someone's taking you for an activity. I mean, I looked at the activity sheets and they were talking about, let's have a Microsoft Word class. I can teach that class. Or let's have, or let's play bingo, or let's play whatever the other, I can't even remember now what the other things were on that list because it just blanked my mind out so much. I was like, I do all these things on an everyday basis. And so my mind just kind of like went in this direction of like, no, 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 no. This is not you. You cannot be in here. You got to go. You just can't. And I think the mindset was like, I didn't want to put my mindset there because I knew, and I've seen many people who put themselves in that mindset of like, I'm old, I can't, I'm this, I'm that, and your brain tells you that you can't do it. It tells you that this is my life now. I'm going to sit in a little chair, and someone's going to come and feed me my lunch, and someone's going to, come and put me on the little, and then when they saw the little bus outside, the little bus they put you on, go to the movies, I was like, oh, no, I couldn't see it. I just could not see myself doing that. So I got in the car, and I drove home, and I was in tears. I was literally crying. I feel like I'm going to cry now. Because I was like, is this where you're going? Is this what it is? I mean, when, because they start you off, in your 50s saying that you're a senior, and they get you all worked up as to like, oh, we're going to lead you to this path of seniorism. And it's like, good God almighty. So that's why I went on my porch, and I just went out there, and I sat there, and I just started talking because I had to get it out. I had to get it out. This cannot be the existence that I am supposed to be in. I just couldn't do it. And so that's what I was saying to you when you reached out to me. I just couldn't believe that this is where I was going to end up. And I was like, no, I had to change. I had to do a mind shift and say, no, we're going to change the mind shift. That's not where I'm supposed to be. I don't know about anybody else, but for me, and what I try to emulate to women is, you can be a certain. I don't feel like I'm going to be 70. I feel like I'm 25. I literally do. I mean, I dance 4 days a week. I swim. I'm active. My body does not feel 70. Even though you go to the doctor's office and they say, well, have you fallen? Have you done? They ask some questions that you just wouldn't believe. I went to the doctor the other day, and they just asked these questions. I'm like, is she seriously asking me that question? I said, I don't want to answer that. I don't want to answer that.
Right. Yeah. I can go off on the tangent. I had a similar experience sometime last year, maybe 2 years ago, where basically I went there. I don't go to the doctors, not like resistant, but I didn't have any reasons to go to the doctor. And even if I have pain here and there, I'd be like, okay, let me figure this out, what's really going on. But I think I had some issues like headache, and I was trying to figure it out. And then while I was there, they said, you want to do what they call a MOT, which is like check it. MOT, I can't remember what it stands for, but it's basically for cars. You check the engine, check everything, make sure things are
You're getting
working.
a tune-up.
So I'm like, a tune. Exactly, that's the word I was looking for too. Because I was trying to do the American version. So I said, sure, why not? And when they were doing the tune-up, the nurse said to me, I can't remember, I was like 56 then or whatever. And she did the test. She said, and I think she said, you are part of a 10%, you have a 10% chance of having a heart attack. Now, this wasn't something, I'm healthy. It's not something that I asked, but that was the information she was giving me. I said, so what determines that? She said age. I said, but that doesn't have to be my reality. And I was thinking, is this what they tell people when we come? I mean, I'm sure, doctors support, they help people, but there's some things the doctors and the medical field does not think about. They just spew out statistics, and people take it on too. And then before you know it, they're not feeling right because they have been programmed. Everything is a program, and we have to be, yes. So I get it.
Did that. My girlfriend went the other day, and she called me on the phone. She said, Diane, do you know what she told me? I said, what did she tell you? Just what she told you. She said, you are susceptible to a heart attack. And she looked at her like she was crazy. But then what happens was when they tell you that, people, they put that on themselves. Oh, she said this. They said this. So I must be having this, and I must be getting this. And that is why we have such dis-ease in this country, because people think that what you tell somebody, they put it in the back of the head, and it's like, oh, I got this now. I have this. I've got this. I don't say I have anything. I tell all my physicians, I see you once a year, and I don't visit. They laugh at me when they say that. I say, I don't visit. And so when I told her what I was doing, she said, I wish I had more patients like you. She said, I really,
Mm.
really do. She said, because they don't listen. They're always in here. I said, well, I
Yeah.
won't be one of them. So,
Right, exactly.
well, I'm just not.
That's the beauty of awareness.
Yes.
Because as I listened to your story, and what made me even reach out to you was it touched a story, now two stories really, something that I went through. And when I went through, it was 10 years ago. I was
Mm-hmm.
47. Actually, I
Right.
was 46, about to be 47. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm 3 from 50. I'm going to be three
Right.
from 50.
Yeah.
And something hit me. I don't even know. Because I'll tell people, I don't think about my age. Sometimes before then, when people ask me, how old are you? After 1968 and try to figure it out. Sometimes I've given the wrong age because I don't think about it. And so when I was
Correct.
turning 47, I would say, I remember saying, I'm three from 50. And I started to have all these feelings. I didn't even know where they came from. It's almost like I had that thought that I was 3 from 50, and all these other thoughts, feelings, and emotions start coming up. I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
words for them until it was this was like happening on a Thursday, Friday, all throughout the weekend, and I had a show, and on this show, every month I have some men to join me. So there's like five of us, and we talk about life, spiritual practice, our spiritual practice, and things we've learned, what it means to be mindful,
Mm-hmm.
to be aware of the words that we're speaking. So we're
Speaking.
whatever relationship. Sometimes we have a conversation. People ask questions and they speak to it, and they were all older than me. I think at that time, I think the youngest may have been like mid 50s, and it goes on to maybe
Mm-hmm.
60s.
Right.
So when I start the show with them, I generally just check in, like, how are you doing today? How are you doing today? I just ask them, Joe, how are you doing today? I remember Joe because I spoke to Joe recently, but the others, and they would tell me what they're dealing with. On that day, the first one that talked about, oh, I was spending time with my grandson today, and because his father was in a hospital, and it made me think of me being a grandfather and getting older, and
Mm-hmm.
he was holding it with gratefulness, but it was around recognizing that one day he won't be here. And I said,
Correct.
And I heard that, I was thinking, okay, God, that's interesting, because I was thinking about getting older. And then the next person, Joe, was Joe. I said, Joe, so what's going on? And Joe told his story about, I spent the weekend with my nieces and nephews and cousins. And I started to feel like an old fart, that the one that's
Yeah.
always giving wisdom. And I was feeling maybe I
Yeah.
was talking too much. He started talking about age and trying to see and feel where he fits in around young people. And as
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to them, I'm like, okay, God, you're messing with me right now, because I'm dealing with this age thing, and there's some men who are much older than me speaking about the thing that I've been dealing with without me talking to them about it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, through that conversation, I was able to find language for what I was feeling, because as I was turning 47 and I was 3 from 50, I was like, oh, I'm going to become invisible. I love working with young
Yes.
people. I love working
Yes.
with people. But for young people, I just love what they won't take me serious anymore. They'll just see me as this old man. And I was like, oh, that is what I'm feeling. And that feeling of invisibility
Yes.
it runs deep. Do you want to say something on that?
Very
Because I
deep.
can see. Yes. Can you speak on that? Because you even said in your bio, you said basically Diane is proving that age isn't about fading into the background. It's about becoming even more vibrant and visible. See,
Yeah.
I was worried about being invisible. That I won't be seen.
Yeah.
I won't be acknowledged anymore.
Right. I could say that too because I mean, and I did think that as well because it was kind of like you started. Well, I did for me. I'm speaking personally for me. I started seeing changes in people. I started seeing changes in friendships. People disappearing and like not engaging and like, well, what's going on? And then I started to feel like, did they really see me? It was kind of like, here's an example. When I was at my job, and I was at the law firm, and my boss was let go. And so then the rest of the team, the rest of us legal specialists, we were thinking like, well, what's going to happen to us? What's going to happen? And so, of course, a couple of weeks later, we had to be transitioned out because it was no longer the department for us to be in. So I went home and I sat there for a minute and I was like, okay, now what? So I said, my husband said, well, just take a minute, relax. And I've always had my own businesses, so I was comfortable with that I didn't have to really worry about going back to work right away. But then I opted to say, well, let me just send some resumes out there and see what's out there. And, I started to feel invisible. They didn't respond to me. They didn't answer me. I was like, what is the situation? So I prayed on it. I thought about it. And what I came to realize is they were adding up. They were adding up the years, I think, watching the resume. Because you can start calculating, going,
15 years here, 20 years
right,
here. It's like, wait.
And I started to figure out, because after a while, when you started sending them all, you were getting no reply. And I was like, well, I feel like they don't want me. I'm not valued anymore. I'm not part of the workforce anymore. It's kind of like you're out to pasture now. You've had your time, and you're done. We can't afford you no more, because of course they could not afford me. Yeah, I mean that would be one of the natural things,
right.
Because all the experiences and so on and so forth. But as you said that, it's like I felt like, well, I'll be damned. They don't care about me. I'm like not worth anything anymore. And so I had to sort of readjust my thinking, go, no, wait a minute. I'm worthy. I am very worthy. I have things to offer. You are the one that will lose out on all of this. You will be the one losing out on all this wisdom and this, because people take people who have wisdom and sort of speak like we speak, they kind of think like, oh, they know it alls. That's not it at all. But because you're not accepting of what I have to offer, you're losing out on greatness. And I think that's what many corporations and companies are doing now. They're losing out on people who, number one, have ethical standards that are very, very high, always showing up on time, know what they're doing, will be there for you. But there's you don't want that.
Yes.
You don't want that.
Yes.
And so I had to make a decision. I said, well, something, I'll just have to be worthy on my own and do my own thing.
I want to talk about how you got what you did to get to claim that. But before we do that, I want to talk about, as I'm listening to you, being visible, and I was sharing about my fear of not being visible. And I think part of the challenge of humanity is being able to accept the part of ourselves, one, that we cannot control.
Correct.
And even the part of us that is actually more real. What I mean by that is, we all have the faces. They can look at, oh, there's a woman, there's a man. Oh, he's got a goatee. They both got glasses on. But behind all of that, there is a power. There is a presence.
Right.
Exactly. And that itself is actually more important, more powerful than this.
Correct.
And the work, spiritual practice, is to bring that inner essence, what I call the innocence, people say innocence, to bring it to the front. And the part of us that is actually invisible is our essence. And it's interesting that we're afraid of that. Like, oh my God, people won't see me.
Yes. We'd rather wear the suit, okay? Like I remember I was in church, and I think Naeem Akbar talked about this being just the suit. This is just the suit, okay? This little dressing right here is something that your inner self is in. It's in.
Yes.
And we'd rather have people see this part than the inner part, which I'm still trying to work on, understand why, and why they're so fearful of being their authentic individual, and to accept people in their authenticity.
Yes.
This is me. I'm jovial, I'm happy, I'm like this, I'm that. I am not what you see here, but
Right.
you don't want to get to know what's in here.
That's the real us. And
That's the
what
real us.
what we see here is actually just a speck, a tip of the
Just
iceberg.
tiny, very
And
tiny.
it's like we're afraid of that essence. And I
Right.
just realized that because this whole thing about they won't see me, I'll be invisible has been the story well, I didn't keep telling it, but that was the story then. But now I just realize, really, if I was invisible, if that's what happened, which is
Mm-hmm.
difficult for that to happen, it's impossible for that to happen. But if I
Correct.
started to believe that or something happened as you were sharing about your CV, your resume, it's like, wow, they don't see me. We have a choice in that moment whether we're now going to buy into the fact that we think they don't see us, or even if we
Mm-hmm.
know they don't see us, or as you
Correct.
said, to say, you know what, I'm going to be my own worth. I'm going to be worthy by myself. I'm going to choose my own worthiness. So those moments when we're getting older, when we're aging, when we're maturing, however you want to describe it, it's actually it's a gift for us
It's a
to
gift.
really know ourselves in a new way, but yet
Mm-hmm.
we run from it.
We run, and you can see that in the way we are acting now in this world we're in right now, where people only see this.
Hmm.
They're not understanding that the person that
Hmm.
you are not liking, or
Are
the
you saying
person you
this
want.
as the skin or the color of the skin? As a black,
Right, they're seeing the
brown?
color of the skin. They're
Okay.
seeing the outer things. They're
Hmm.
not getting to know the inner. And I think
Yes.
too that if people got to do that, this would be a
Yes.
much better situation we're in.
Absolutely.
Much better situation.
Absolutely.
But
I
we don't want to
absolutely agree
do it
with
for
you.
some reason. I don't know why we don't want to do it. It's baffling to me that this would mean so, a skin color would mean so much more to you than getting to
Hmm.
know the real person.
I
Because
think part
that
of it
real
is
person could be your
laziness.
best friend.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know what I'm
But
saying?
as humans, we get lazy. We get
Lazy.
lazy. We've been trained, conditioned to go with things we can see, the five senses. You could just like, that's
Correct.
it.
Right.
But
That's it.
those of us, there are people waking up on a day-to-day basis, recognizing that there is more to me. Like in your bio, you said, like getting aging is more than just being in the background. It's not about being in the background,
Correct.
fading into the background,
Right.
but it's about, you said, becoming more vibrant and visible. And I
Exactly.
believe in order to be vibrant and visible, we have to allow the part of us that is dying, because age, numbers, getting
Hmm.
older, maturing is a process of death and rebirth. There is
Correct.
no vibrancy without death.
Right.
So, how did you take yourself through this death experience that is always happening on a day to day basis to be able to be in this space saying, Psh, I'm going to dance class? No, you can't define me by the number of my birthday. That's an
Well,
awakening.
it took me a minute, and I think sometimes it does, because I thought about it today when I was sitting in my kitchen. I said, okay, you're going to be 70, which means then my mind started going there, saying, no, wait a minute, wait a minute. You've got about another good 15 years, maybe 20, because my dad, he transitioned in January. He was 96. So I think I get some pretty good genes going on there, right? But that little piece just crept in and said, 15 years could go pretty quick. You know, I mean, it's like, and
Right?
so I was like, wait a minute, wait. So I had to turn, I had to sit down and say, Diane, back that up. And I said, you have to be 70 in the present.
Mm,
70 in the present. You can't think 15, 20. Okay, that is so far down the road. You have to figure out, what are you going to be living and doing at 70 in this moment right here. And the things that I'm doing, I'm going to continue to do. I mean, if you could have seen me in dance class this afternoon, people said, my God, them girls are really, yeah, we had people who were 70 and 80 in this class. And, you know, I can out dance maybe a 25-year-old. You know what I'm saying? But I had to say to myself, no, we're not going to do the number thing, because the number means absolutely nothing. I'm just grateful that I'm at this point. I'm more wiser. I know myself a whole lot better than what I did when I was in my 20s and 30s. I feel comfortable in my skin. And I have earned the right to be and who and say what I want. I've earned this right. And so now I'm not going to make myself invisible just because somebody else maybe wants me to be, or they say, well, you know, you're a senior citizen, you just go sit to the side and, you know, we'll take care of you, and, you know, we'll tell
bring in
you
your pudding.
Right. You know, it's like, what do we do? No, we're not doing that. We're not. Yeah. And you're going to see who I am. That's it. You're going to see this 70-year-old shine. She's going to be shining, okay? And they're going to say, wow. I was talking to a friend in the car today. I said, yeah, I'm be 70. She said, no, you're not. I said, yeah, I am. I said, she said, you don't look it, you don't act it. And I was like, well, how am I supposed to act? How am I supposed to act? Am I supposed to be riding in one of those little, what do you call those little walker things, and hanging on to one of those things and be like, and I know there are some people with 70 that do that. Yeah. But I don't see myself doing that. I feel like I'm just being enlightened with so much possibility and so much left to offer and to give and to do and to be, that I'm not dimming the light. I'm not.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not dimming the light.
I mean, and why, if the light is still shining, when the light is still bright?
Yes. Why do people want to dim their light so early? I have no idea. I don't understand it. It's like, oh, well, I can't do this, or I don't think I'm going to be able to do. Why not? That's my question to you. Why not? They say, well, you know, you're designing and you're doing this and you're doing that. Okay, Ann, I'm a 70-year-old designer. How about that? Is that going to...
What's your point?
What's the point? I mean, what are we doing here? It's like,
what are we doing? Creativity doesn't have an age.
Creativity doesn't have an age. And as a matter of fact, it gets better as you get older.
Absolutely. You know? Absolutely.
It gets better as you get older.
Because there's some things that I am in an interesting place. I'm 57 now. Yep, I'm 57. I have to think about it too.
Just a baby.
Thank you. And I find myself being in places that sometimes, and when I say being, not physical places, but in my mind, because there's some things now I can just look at and go. And I have people in my life, the role, how I use my life energy to be of service as a teacher, as a healer, as a transformational agent. And I find that when I am talking to people nowadays, I'm talking, not necessarily thinking about what I'm saying, but I'm saying what I know, what I believe, what I've experienced. And every now and then, it's like I come outside of myself and I hear myself and I'm thinking, oh, so this is part of aging. It's not the way that I've looked at myself before. And I find that I tend to give myself a little bit more permission. It's like, listen, you're a grown-ass man. You know, because you're free to share your wisdom. They don't have to listen. You could do it. I mean, it's like, it's a new reality. You know, one of the things that shifted my consciousness a little bit when I was turning 47, actually was after I had the conversation with a friend on the show that we did. I was like, okay, fine, I can lean into it. 48, I started to feel the rumblings of 2 from 50.
Right.
50. Exactly. Like, okay. I remember I went through this last year, but I still feel something. I feel like I'm on the edge of a really skyscraper that I'm having to look down like, and Spirit said to me, you have a choice. You can turn 48 or not.
Or not.
And when I heard, so me being afraid or not wanting to be older or whatever I was making up in my mind, the other option is not to be alive. So I could die at 47, I could die at 48. Then okay, great. So you didn't hit 50, and that made such an impact. Now I have similar experience going on. Maybe not so much. I was talking to my honey the other day, and I was telling her, I said, "Honey, I am 3 from 60. I don't know how to explain that. I don't understand. I don't know what that means.
Can't.
Because I feel like me. I feel like me. I am me. I don't feel like 50. I don't know what that's supposed to feel like. I still have a lot of things that I want to do, create. I love life. I love people. I love learning. I have so many books that I'm trying to read, but I never get to read them. I got things that I'm working on. So I'm like, so it's like, I think there's a part of my mind trying to fit into the box of what it means to be that age, even though I don't want to go into that box. There's another part of me. Right. There's another part of me. It's like, snap out of it. You've been doing your work. You've been working in yourself. You know the truth. Right. So I lean more into not pushing against, but recognizing and accepting.
Exactly.
I am 57. Right. And that's what
and that's what you have to do. You can't, like you said, push against it. It's just like you said, you have a choice. I can have a choice to be 69 and stay and end 69, or you can be 70 and continue on this journey, this path of excitement and enlightenment, and see what's like around the corner. Because I always say to myself, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I pick up and I go and I'm here and I'm there. I'm like, let's see what else I can get myself into. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Instead of pigeonholing yourself, I don't know if I'm going to make it today. I don't know. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And
I'm too old for that.
I'm too old for that. Walking into 70 gracefully, walking into there peacefully, walking into there with exuberance and with a sense of purpose, because there's still more purpose to be had.
And there's more life in us. The life of God is in us. Yes. The life of God doesn't get old. So when I feel like my human life seems to be getting old, it's like, no, let me tap into the truth of who I am.
Correct.
Because there is a light.
Essence.
Yes, the essence.
That light.
Yes.
We have a call every morning, the Daily Source of Light call that I'm on every morning at 7 o'clock. And we start our day transforming the mind. We do our affirmations, we do a reading. So you get yourself ready for the day so that you are set to go when you step out that door or whatever it is that you're doing, knowing that no enemy formed against you is going to prosper in any shape, form, or fashion. You know the words that you're speaking through these affirmations are going to set the tone for your day.
Yes.
Set the tone. And you have to believe that. I mean, you have to embrace it. And some people say, affirmations. What does that do? But as you speaketh, you become.
So shall it be. Absolutely.
So shall you be.
And we are as old as our mindset.
Correct. You're as old as you think you are.
Absolutely.
Whatever you tell yourself in your mind.
Yes.
If you're gonna say, I'm 70, but you feel like you're 90, well, that's what you're gonna feed. That's what you're gonna be.
Absolutely. And it doesn't even matter with whatever people are dealing with, whether there's some pain, some sickness, some illness. If you keep your mind alive and alert, it's a different experience.
Correct. And also, if you keep your mind on things that are pure, that are knowledgeable, that don't embrace evilness, that don't put all that dis-ease inside of it, that is how you stay young. When you go the other route and you put all this, I'm going to say, crap in your existence, in your mind, in your mindset, that is what you are giving to yourself. And most people don't seem to understand that when you talk about those things, your body takes that stuff on. in some shape, form, or fashion, it is going to show up.
Yes. Yes.
And when it
Absolutely.
shows up, you are not going to like the
What's
result.
showing up? Right. Exactly.
I mean, you're not. I'm sorry. You are not going to like what. Then you're going to ask yourself, well, where did I get this? How did this happen?
Mm-hmm.
It's because as you spoke it, you became it.
That's it.
That's it. It's very,
We,
very simple. People don't
that's
understand the
why people find it
simplicity of all
difficult,
this.
because it's simple. Like we
It's
speaking the
simple.
word.
You want to make it too hard. You want to make it
That's
harder
it.
than what it is.
Yes.
You're trying to put all this stuff on it and trying to name it and
Mm-hmm.
claim and trying to figure out, well, what is. It's not that hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
So I saw something today, and that's the other thing. I notice because my life is my evidence. Like how things come to me, even more so now. And I don't even know if things are coming to me more now, maybe. But I think also I'm recognizing things that are coming to me without me going to look for it. So we've
Correct.
scheduled this day to talk about aging and growing up and living life fully. And I saw this little piece on social media today. I'm going to read it and I want to hear your thoughts about it. I was like, how fascinating that I would find this today. So it said the writer, I don't know who wrote it, said, aging is not for the faint of heart. One day you wake up and realize youth has quietly slipped away. But it didn't leave alone. It took with it your insecurities, your rush to please, your fear of not being enough, and in its place, it left you with something stronger. A slower pace, but a steadier step. The wisdom to say goodbye without fear. The grace to cherish those who chose to stay. The power to be you unapologetically. Aging isn't about losing. It is about letting go. It's about learning to accept, to release, and to truly see that beauty was never just in the mirror. It lived in every story, scar, and silent strength we carried within. Aging is a gift. Wear it with dignity.
True. True. Because that I need to have that. That's really good because you
Sure.
know when you mention that aging is a gift and that you should embrace it, it's true. You take the scars with you. You take the people who were in your life who are not there anymore. You take the knowing of things that you did wrong, but you learn from them. You take all these things with you, and you have to be grateful for that because along the way you learned everything that about who you are, the things you will accept, the things you won't accept, the things you will do, the things you won't do. And just to think if you didn't go through those things, what would you be? You might not have
Absolutely.
got to be 70. You know, there are some people who are born who die early. There are people who don't make that because it's not their time or place to be in it right now. You know, I talk about, I say to myself sometimes too, I say like, well, I've grown a lot, but along the way I've had all these different issues and problems and this and that. But what if you didn't experience that?
Yes.
You wouldn't know who you are. You wouldn't be growing. You know,
There
it's
won't
like
be
certain people
wisdom.
that
There won't be
there
the
would be no
wisdom to
wisdom.
realize aging is a gift.
Right. How do you think the ancestors told that to us in these stories?
Yes.
How do you think that
Yes.
came how did that came to be? And if you can't embrace what they gave to us and you can't embrace it within yourself, how are you going to make this move forward with everybody else that your children and your children's children and all of that? How are you going to let them know? So I'm enjoy I've enjoyed me. I like me. I like the things I've done. I'm very proud of my accomplishments.
Yeah.
Have some been good? Yeah, very good. Have some been bad? Yeah, okay. But have people come into my life that are here still with me? Sure. Are there some who are not here with me? Sure, but there's a reason why they're not here.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
they're probably not enhancing what I'm bringing. And I've had to learn to accept that too. I mean, friendships at this age too were coming and going. It's like I thought about the other day. I was like, where are these people going? What's happening? And I was talking to a minister friend of mine, and they said, well, I'm going to give you this explanation. This, I had to think about this one. He said, the reason why it's probably happening is because you are on a newer path that God is enlightening you with that they cannot be a part of. And he's keeping them away from you. I said, what does that mean? He said, they're not on the journey anymore.
Right.
They're not on that journey anymore.
Yeah, they're on a separate journey. That's always going to happen, isn't it? That we go to the grocery store to the store to buy things that we buy on a regular basis. After a while, we may not like that brand anymore. We may not eat that food anymore.
Exactly.
It's
or
like
they
so
might
you just
take it away.
Yes, and then you're missing it, but you got to keep absolutely.
You gotta keep, right. It's like I went to the grocery store the other day. I go, I'm like I said, it's like okay, Heinz. What is it? I was looking at some relish or something like that. I'm being a snob to that, but it was not there. I was like, I don't want the other one because I'm used to this one.
That's it.
So it's kind of like,
I want my Heinz back.
I want it. Right. So you have to pivot. You have to pivot into something else.
Yes, so true. And I think that's the thing, pivoting. That's what keeps us alive, and be willing not to know, be willing to learn, be willing to surrender. And all of this is about death. It's about dying, things changing, people moving away. As we get ready to release this conversation, we're definitely going to have part 2. What are your thoughts when you think of death? Whether that's death of a life, a season, or the human death where you release the body. What are your thoughts on that?
I thought about this after my dad transitioned, and because now I don't have a mom and a dad, and I was like, how do I really feel about this? The physical part, I think I understand. I'm not sure, and I understand the spiritual part of it all. So I don't really know if it really bothers me, or if I even really thought about it like that. I mean, I know at some point it will occur because it happens to everybody, but I haven't given it a whole lot of thought. I haven't given it a whole lot of delved into it, like what will happen, how it will happen. Because sometimes you can go there. That makes you kind of like, I don't know. I just don't think about it like that. It's like timing is timing, and I'm just going to be on the path that I'm on, and leave it at that.
I love that.
I haven't really given it much thought. I mean, because I think too, and I'll be tell the truth and stay in church. I said, is it scary? Most definitely. But then I said, you won't know about it. So I mean, it's like,
yes, it's so I have been talking about death. I mean, because I've been doing radio for God knows how long now, over 20 years, and I don't know if anybody can have a conversation around spirituality and not face. I mean, I guess some people do it. I don't know. Talk about death, because spiritual growth, spiritual transformation is about death and rebirth. It is about learning to grieve the things that are no more, the things that never happened. So I've always talked about death and found it fascinating. And I think I've gone through a phase where I was afraid of dying. And I think you said about your dad, but I think partly my dad's transition had made me more welcoming of my own death, in the sense that I'm less scared. Well, it did something to me, but even after he had passed, there was still a part of me that was like, ooh. And then the more I kept going deeper and deeper, I was recognizing it's like, part of my fear was I have so much that I want to do. I don't want to do it before I leave. Yes. And if I don't do it, I'll be sad.
Right.
Now, I also... Exactly. And I also watch videos on near-death experiences. And people talk about their journey when they died, or they would say clinically death and they came back to life. and they talk about what happened in that second. It could be 1 minute, 5 minutes, because when they come back, they say, "Oh, you've been gone for 5 minutes," but to them it was like eternity.
Right.
And I've gone to a place now where I'm not afraid of my own death necessarily, but there's a part of me I still have feelings around people who love me, who care about me, who will miss me.
Correct.
So I find myself like, ooh, I wish I could do something where they don't feel that pain. Now, before you said what you said earlier, I would have just said, yeah, I'm no longer scared. But as you were talking, because I believe that too, once you die, you're gonna be in a different reality. I was speaking to somebody a few days ago, and he was trying to tell me that basically, I'm not afraid. He's trying to sell me, because that's what he was doing, trying to sell me Christianity. And basically, he was wrapping the conversation up. Am I concerned, worrying, well, even saying I don't want to regret my choice, because I was sharing how I see life and how I see God when I'm dying, where I'm going to go. I said, I have no doubt about where I'm going. I'm going back to, I'm not even going back. I'm in the arms of love already. I'm just going back into that place. Back is not the best word, but that's what I'm going to use. I'm going into love. I'm not afraid. I'm not thinking going to hell. If you believe that, so be it. I'm not going to take that away from anybody. But when you said something that made me think, it's that things that I've seen, the painful journey for people to transition.
Right.
Now I'm thinking, yeah, that's the part I don't think I want to deal with. The painful part. I rather go. I've always said that I want to go to sleep and just good night, y'all, and wake up in another realm.
Something that just came to me. Is like, if you die to self now of all the negative things in your life, the transition to the other place will be a whole lot easier.
Absolutely. I believe
Die to self now with all the craziness you got going on. Let that fade on out. Get it out. Let it go. See how much easier the flow of your life will be.
Yes.
So that when that time comes, you will say,
yes,
I did it all.
I did it. Yes.
I did.
Absolutely.
I did it.
So the secret to aging gracefully is by to being more vibrant and more visible is to die to self on a daily basis.
On a daily basis.
So when we are leaving the body,
get rid of those things that are not for you. Get rid of those things that cannot help you, or if a matter of fact, it's not so much about you either, it's about how you handle the others around you. For me, it's like, I love people. I am a lover of people. I invite people. I am engaging. Excuse me. But it's not about you. Once you get that out of your system, it's not about you. It's what you are bringing forth in you.
Yes.
Outwards to other people.
Absolutely. So it's a good time to start forgiving. It's a good time to forgive. It's a good time to let go. It's a good time to embrace life. It's a good time to be around young people and let their youthfulness activate the youthfulness, if I can say the word, within us.
Exactly. And don't be afraid of that.
Yes.
Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid to bring out your young. I mean, I still color. I love to color. Give me some good crayons and coloring book. I'm going back to being 5. I'm coloring, okay? I don't care.
So when you turn 70, how old are you now? I'm 5. They're like, wait, what? Oh my God, the D word has kicked in. No. The D word didn't kick in. I know everything that's going on. I am awake.
I'm awake. I'm alive. You can be. I can take myself back to when I was 17. I can take myself back when I was 20. I was like, oh yeah, I can. I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Age is nothing but a number. Your mind tells you exactly how old you are. It's in the mind. It's a mindset.
It's in your mind. It's all up here. Embrace it.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you, Diane.
Accept it.
Yes. Thank you for this conversation. We're going to have part 2 because there's so much more I want to cover.
Yes, you have to have a part 2. Yes.
Absolutely. As you journey into... Right. So we want to catch the before and after. As you journey into 70 and then what it's like when
Yes.
you're there. It's only going
Right.
to be the
Catch me on
same,
July
same old,
18th.
same old. Okay.
Catch me on July 18th and ask me the same question.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your time.
Thank you, my love. It's so great to
Yes,
be back with my friend. I'm
yes,
so
indeed.
happy. Thank you
Yes,
so, so
indeed.
much.
Yes, thank God for Dr. Barbara King, Hillside, that brought us
Yeah.
together. Yes,
Yes,
indeed.
Hillside, most definitely. And
Mm,
thank you to, the Daily Source of Light call. And just thank you to those
yes,
who are like in tune with life and in tune with who they are.
absolutely. We need each other.
And
Thank you, everyone.
I wish that for everybody.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to like the show, share with your friends, and whatever resonated with you, reflect on it. If you heard something that triggered you, that made you mad, it's like, that's not true, blah, 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 blah. It's okay. Sit with that too. Find out what is true for you out of the
Correct.
things and what we say that you think is not true. Because it ain't about me, it's about you. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back soon with the next episode. We love you, we bless you,
We
we
bless you.
appreciate
We
you,
appreciate
and we
you.
thank
And
God
we
for
thank
you.
God for you.
Yes. Be well. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.